Hey guys, thanks for coming back to Fasterproms YouTube. Before we get the video started off, I wanted to remind you have 1 day left on the Texas Pride trailer giveaway. So stop the video right now, go to Texas Pride trailers, go under giveaway, register for that. You guys could win a trailer very much just like the one that I have in the video right here. Next, I want to direct your attention to Fasterproms store. You guys are literally changing the direction of Fasterproms and the stuff we're doing and trying to accomplish with your merch purchases. So thank you guys so much for that. Check out our hats, t-shirts, lanyards, stickers, and our Uncle Sam poster that is signed by all the Fasterproms crew. There's only a few of those left, so you guys hit those up before they're all gone. Now, let's get on to the video.
What is going on, fellas? Today is the day. So I got my Texas Pride trailer here and I absolutely love this thing. However, we have one small problem. So the ramps that we got here, and really more like the cars that I have, are just way too darn low. We've tried to rig this and basically decrease the angle, but it is a little bit too high. In fact, we're wearing a little bit of the BMW on that ramp right there. I put this guy up here, and as you can see, yeah, we kind of tore up the bumper. Basically, we're using the junkiest car that we have in order to be able to test this. We're gonna try and get it on there, but this is our first test, trying to see what we can get on the trailer and how it's gonna tow. We changed the hitch, and I got a few other modifications that are coming in order to be able to make this truck tow better, as well as make the trailer the ultimate tow trailer. All right, so after a 27-point turn and steamrolling just about every pile of poop that 7 dogs can produce, we're here. We're gonna try and get this guy up on there as quickly and painlessly as possible. Miata, on the other hand, this bumper is super cheap. The Miata bumper, not so cheap, and definitely painted nicely. All right, we got these puppies maxed out. One of the things I think I might want to do is I want to add an electric motor to this to be able to make this so much easier to crank all the way up, but we are maxed out right now. Definitely helped with the angularity right here. Let's get this guy on there. All right, so I can't wait to try out all these little holes right here that they were using for kind of like a multi-purpose tie-down system. I think that's going to be really easy to tie this thing down. All right, guys, so back when we were at Cletus and Cars in Houston, we had got these lights from a gentleman, and we were anticipating getting some sort of trailer, upgrading something on our trailer, and finally, I think we got the right spot here. So we were thinking about mounting them low down there so that we could have a light, but really kind of talked it over, and if we stick it right here, we can still have it high, be able to point in just about every direction that we want. It'll also be able to help us get the car on the trailer if we have any sort of problems.
Custom.
I like it, brother. Also got our nut for hire on there. Thank you very much, Mr. Brandon.
Finger. Hi. Sorry. Stinking finger.
You're having a rough day, dude.
Yeah, man.
Bleeding, banging stuff. All right, so we're back on our Duramax here, and this is something that we've been wanting to check for a very long time. So last we checked, we were maxing out our factory map sensor. I want to say it's about, Adam Pila, my diesel tuner, said, hey, about 37, possibly 40 pounds of boost. But the question to us was, hey, we want to be able to check how much back pressure that has. Obviously, the more back pressure it has, the more constipated that thing becomes. Alleviate the excess, but still be able to keep turbo boost spool up. Something that's always kind of fascinated me. So we got that tapped into our exhaust right there. That's an 1/8 inch NPT. Got a 5-bar map sensor going over there. That's 75 pounds of pressure right there. Very likely that we're probably going to exceed that on this, especially that's a 2-to-1 ratio, and quite oftentimes on a diesel, I think you're probably going to see over, above, and beyond, maybe even 3 times that. But we'll see. Let's try and get some sort of reference as to boost versus back pressure. That stacks over on our edge right there, and we should be ready to rip. All right, Georgie, do the honors.
LEDs on the brand new Texas Pride trailer. Dang. Hey, intruder. Dang, look how bright they are. Hey, you. Hands off that foreign car.
Dude, those are great.
It's so nice when we're freaking changing tires and broke down like always.
Yeah. Dude, that location is so crucial. We got the tension just right, so we can go ahead and alter this. You doing okay over there? You need some light? Dude, it is blinding behind you.
I know, you probably can't even.
That is awesome.
Kind of see spots after looking at it.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing spots.
Definitely 2 more, it would be.
Dude, this is so great. Yes. Definitely a game changer right there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Lights.
Oh, the sun went down. We have to quit playing. Nope, not anymore. Oh. We bring this over to Showtime and just park it right there. Yeah, we don't need to turn the lights on.
We don't have any more, huh?
No.
Those ain't cheap lights either.
No.
Wheeling and whaling.
Heck yeah. Well, let's keep this going, man. I'm loving modding this trailer and modding the truck, so making a little bit better of a tow rig. Yeah, get one more look at that. That is just so awesome. We should turn off the lights in the shop and see how good they are.
Dude, look at how good it works with the lights on.
All right, let's check the relationship here between boost pressure and drive pressure. Wow, 68 pounds of back pressure. Wow. All right, so we're gonna creep in the throttle and kind of see how this thing goes. Just, it seems very close to 2 to 1. That is going to have to do with the vane position for sure. Alright guys, so this is the Stealth Turbo from Duramax Tuner or Calibrated Power Solutions. This is the 67 Stealth. And so with the vane position right there, it's meant to make boost at lower positions. So it's meant to make boost and squeeze down that exhaust so that it can drive that fast. However, it opens up at heavier throttle to alleviate back pressure, which is exactly what we're seeing. So in some areas we have that 2 to 1 pressure ratio right there, and then in some areas it's less than 2 to 1. So let's give this a shot real quick here. Pretty awesome. Needs mirrors. All right, after playing with this for a few moments and really being able to see that, I was really expecting to see the pressure ratio vastly different, but there's some areas where it's almost 1 to 1. I just saw like 30 pounds of boost and 33 pounds. As you can see right there, 29 pounds, 33 pounds of drive pressure. That is incredible, the efficiency of what this thing can do.
All right, I wanted to nerd out on something for just a minute here, because the more I thought about this, the cooler it became. First of all, we have to understand what turbochargers are like. You have an intake housing, you have an exhaust housing. And basically, you know, I always liken that to if somebody doesn't understand the concept, like one of those whistles that you would blow, it's like, the more drive pressure you have, the faster you can spool that turbo. Obviously, there's a certain choke point where you cannot flow as much and it becomes kind of like constipating the engine. And if you guys are fluent in turbos, then this would kind of be like changing the AR. It would basically be like having an adjustable exhaust turbine AR. And the fact that you can have something that has the best, be like having the ultimate bottom end performance without restriction and having the ultimate top end that doesn't still sacrifice the bottom end. A VGT is a variable geometry turbo, okay? And what we can do is we can effectively squeeze down the exhaust size. It's going to increase the turbine speed such that we can be able to make more boost more quickly. A VGT turbo definitely helps with a bottom end and mid-range response. Some guys on the far end of the spectrum with just ultimately large turbos, you know, might say, hey, you know, get rid of that thing. But for ultimately drivability and, you know, for what I'm doing for towing, a VGT turbo is the ideal way to go. So the super cool part about this VGT turbo is that it's proportional, integral, and derivative. In other words, it's closed loop. It has a check and balance. So it has a target amount of boost in order to hit. And basically the vanes are going to close or open in order to be able to hit that boost target. So that's what we had seen right there. Imagine what you can do if you just set a boost target you know, on a LS engine. It's a little bit different with, you know, the way that other engine management works, but if you could do it with a VGT, it definitely could change things. It's really a fascinating idea. Now, Ford, Dodge, and Chevy all use the VGT design, and I remember the first time I ever heard one fire up in like 2004 on this modified Power Stroke. I was like, just fired up and was like, it's like, man, that is a wild sound. I never really heard a turbo do something like that merely at idle. But that same idea allows you to be able to get so much more bottom end and mid-range airflow or torque with less work. So now let's talk with Adam Pila here. I was kicking around some ideas of doing a forged motor in my Duramax. It is a little bit expensive, even though this is the budget build. I haven't totally made up my mind. I really love the power that my Duramax is making, but man, a couple hundred more horse would really be awesome.
It's got a forged one right here.
So this is our engine assembly room. This isn't a crazy build reel. It's just getting some upgraded model pistons in it. I think we talked a little bit. You were asking your LMM engine, along with the LBZ engine, has a piston. This is actually an LML piston, which is a slightly better design than what's in your truck. But generally, the piston geometry is similar, and this model piston has a modified bowl. And as you can see, this bowl in the top of the piston.
Yeah, so that's, I don't want to say concave, but it's like it does kind of go like that. Coming to the edge and going straight down, it kind of tucks
right, you
down.
can see my finger kind of tucks into the edge of that one, whereas here, this is a straight wall. And so they open up the diameter of this bowl.
Now, that is going to have a lower compression than that.
Absolutely.
But like, how much are we talking there?
It's quite a few. It's like 4/10 or something like that, if I remember correctly. You know, on a Duramax, you're pretty much zero deck, and your cylinder head, which you can see one of them here, has no combustion chamber in it, right?
Yeah, they were
it's
flat. Yeah, I remember
so
that.
really, that's what generates your compression. But
it's all in the piston. I heard that from Smokey Unick. It was like, that's the best way to do it, is all in the piston.
That guy was my idol.
Yeah, dude, me too, right here,
Super
brother.
cool. He actually, when I went to college, he donated all of his equipment to the master's program that I took in college at University of Central Florida.
I think you got to play around with the Smoketron too, right?
The Smoketron. And the Spintron. Have you ever seen the Spintron?
I haven't seen either one of them.
So the Spintron would turn like 12,000 RPM, but with no fuel. And he would measure through a friction coupling how much resistance the engine generated, and he played with dry sump oiling and clearances and all sorts of stuff to improve efficiency. The guy was outside the box for sure.
For sure. Definitely my hero.
One of the only reasons you can't take your LMM past, say, 600 and some horsepower to the wheels, let's say for an extended period of time, because I bet we can do it once.
Yeah. I remember you saying that before. You could make a lot of power
one time.
Yeah.
Or a little less than that 5 times. And it's proportional. But so the big advantage to this, obviously, is opening up that bowl. It does a couple things. It minimizes the hot spot that gets generated on the edge of this little lip. Talking about the piston weakness, these small pistons are a nice improvement, because on a truck like yours, one of the things GM did on the LBZ and LMM was the manufacturer they bought the pistons from decided to insert a bronze bushing on the small end of the piston.
Yeah.
I guess to reduce wrist pin wear. But by doing that, they open up the casting and weaken the piston at the axis of the wrist pin. So once you hot spot this little lip here, a little crack forms, right? Because aluminum likes to fatigue and crack at really high temperatures. And all of a sudden, that crack just always propagates right along the wrist pin axis. So you see a lot of Duramaxes with a cracked piston problem, and that's what it comes from.
So the LML piston is basically a direct swap improvement over the LMN.
Yes, the only thing that changed a little bit is they changed the spacing on the rod end, so it won't actually bolt in unless, if you go to like a mall piston, it has the same spacing for the end of the rod. The LBZ and LMM rod small end is slightly wider. So a couple years ago, I put LMM pistons in one of my trucks, and I just put these rods in a mill and shaved a little off both sides and put them in. We're great. That was actually the first motor in my drag truck.
Oh, nice.
900 to the tire.
That is, I like it, yeah.
So
you had to get them, like, you got them to weigh pretty much about the same, or how did that work?
Well, we balance. All of our rotating assemblies get fully balanced, and there's a bunch of other nuances I can nerd out on. Which generation has more internal balance than other generations?
Oh.
The flywheel counterweights are you know, the counterweights on the crank are different diameters for different years. So we do a little bit of mix and matching to build the ideal engine.
I got you started, I could tell. Yeah. So another real thing, like the moment you look at something like this, I totally was drawn to the pattern here. And at first I was like, hey, is that the injector that is spraying that pattern exactly? And you're like, yeah, that's it. So I was
absolutely. So on a stock engine, you know, you're trying to spray that fuel in the bowl to help make sure that all the combustion happens here, that you're not coking up the cylinder walls or spraying fuel on the rings or any of that. But as soon as you increase your pulse width, you know, in some of these tunes people make for these Duramaxes with 3,000 microseconds of pulse width at 5,000 RPM, you're still spraying fuel when the piston's down here.
Oh, yeah.
That's not good. So, you know, you talk about that increased pulse width and that makes more power, but what you don't want, you see all these trucks blowing a bunch of black smoke and stuff like that. That is not good. One, it creates a lot of EGTs, which of course isn't good for the piston, but it also generally cokes up the oil and causes a lot of other damage to the actual ringlands and the pistons. So you don't want to be blowing a bunch of black smoke and wasting that fuel, although a lot of people think it's cool.
Yeah.
I quote Gail Banks in saying that, it doesn't make power, right? So you want to burn all the fuel. It's just like running a car at, 9 to 1 is probably a little safer, but it's going to make more power and be more efficient at a little leaner.
Yeah.
You want to be close to that optimum setting. So the key is, yes, you can open that injector. You can take a stock truck with a stock nozzle and put it at 3,000 microseconds and make some numbers on the dyno. But if you run that truck like that, pulling a trailer down the road, not only are you going to shorten the life of the engine, but you're obviously going to get horrible economy from the truck too.
And on that note, so a couple years back, when I first started talking with you about some stuff here, I didn't know anything about diesels, and I mean, you've definitely taught me most of what I know, but you can't lean out a diesel engine. And you can actually burn it down with fuel. It's quite the opposite of a gas engine. So you most certainly can run it leaner and be efficient. However, throwing so much fuel in there and the bottom line is that it is effectively going to shorten the life of the engine.
It damages the engine, and it doesn't really produce more power. If you take an engine that is burning really clean and has a peak of efficiency and you add a little bit more fuel in a diesel, the only reason you generally gain a little bit of power, very marginal amount, is because what actually happens is some of that fuel that's left over from the last stroke is still in there, so it fictitiously advances the timing. Because remember, the diesel doesn't have a spark plug. You're not in control of timing other than when the injector puts the fuel in. So your timing is your injection timing. Like a direct injected LT motor,
Gotcha.
You can control the peak cylinder combustion by when you put the fuel in. But if you put so much extra fuel in that there's still some left when it comes back from last time,
Yeah.
now you got advanced timing.
Yeah, I got you.
Which also hurts the engine. So all of it is bad, right? So you want to be lean. And you talk about the lean burn. One of my favorite examples is, you can take a diesel engine, grab a bottle of nitrous, put it on the dyno, flog it, and if you dump enough nitrous into it while it's running on the dyno, the worst thing that'll happen is it'll just turn off. Because you can literally lean out to the point that it will shut the engine off. It won't damage anything, but essentially gets to the point where it can't even fire the fuel anymore because there's so much air versus fuel that it won't run. Common mistake too, like with my drag truck or my mega truck, if you accidentally bump the solenoid while it's idling, it just shuts the motor off, right?
Oh.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
whoops. This is just a fairly basic build with upgraded pistons, and this is something that would be really awesome for a truck like yours. You don't need Carrillo rods and Cali's cranks and
just
all this stuff.
Replace the piston.
Upgrade the pistons.
Send it.
Do some clearances. One of the other things we do, I have some under here in the shop.
You got a few blocks ready to roll.
Yes, we have quite a few blocks and we have quite a few cranks. Get one of these. It's kind of hidden in here, but if you look, we key these cranks because from the factory they just have a very small dowel here and rely on the press fit. But on a modified engine, you want to put a real keyway in there for your cam and crank drive because you're driving not only the cam, which is gear driven. This is another cool feature of a Duramax. It's got an anti-backlash cam gear. So no chain, but this second half of that gear is spring loaded so that there's no backlash between the crank and the cam gear, which is pretty neat.
Man, I freaking love Adam. He's such a nerd. Guy's awesome. It just always, we bounce stuff back off each other is so cool. I have such a great time with him. Well, I'll have to do some thinking about that. I'll be sitting on that for a little while, wondering if I'm going to forge the motor or not. But at the moment, we have so many other projects that we got to tackle and so many other things that we have to get going. So guys, we will be coming back to the S10 very shortly. We got a few things that are developing and we got some parts being made as we speak. So I can't wait to get back to that thing. I'm going to leave you guys with a song that I really highly suggest. So check this one out. This is Dream On, not by Aerosmith, but by Blacktop Mojo. I think they actually did a better job than Aerosmith. Hope you guys enjoy it. Also, I want to leave you guys with a quote, another one from Abe Lincoln here. And it says, nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. God bless you guys. We'll see you next episode. Oh, also wanted to say, hey, check out our Facebook. Also check out our Instagram at Fasterproms. We'll see you next episode.
Well, you have to screw everything.
Shut up, Jeremy. What's that lip?
I think it's rolled on you.
Ew. This is my life.